My brother said I taught his wife how to leave him because she saw an old man drinking coffee on my porch every morning. That was his whole theory. Not affairs. Not debt. Not the way he checked her phone like it was a crime scene. No, somehow my marriage ruined his because Ellis sat in a plastic chair behind my garage with black coffee, blood pressure pills, and one bad knee. My wife, Naomi, was inside packing lunches when he called me a disgrace. Our 2 kids had left bikes blocking the garage path again. Little helmets hanging off the handles like evidence. You let her keep him there, Caleb said. You made it look normal. I looked out at Ellis, 72 years old, blowing on coffee he always made too hot. Nothing about him and Naomi was romantic. Nothing was sexual, but truth had paperwork. Old wounds, sealed file. So we stayed quiet. That silence nearly cost us a child. Alice had lived behind our garage for 4 years, in a studio smaller than most master bathrooms. 1 bed, 1 table he sanded himself, 1 shelf of Western novels with cracked spines. He paid rent by check every month, even after I told him cash was easier. Paper trail keeps people honest, he said. Back then, I thought he meant himself. Our life looks strange if somebody needed it to look strange. Alice picked up the kids on Tuesdays and Thursdays when my shift ran late. He kept peppermint candies in his glove box, and Mara called his Carmen tea. Jonah always checked the cup holder for wrappers before he buckled in. On our fridge, Naomi had taped his schedule in 3 marker colors: blue for school, green for my work, yellow for Alice. Pickup, dentist, library day. It looked less like scandal and more like logistics, but people believe whatever makes them feel powerful. Naomi cooks soft food twice a week because Ella says dentures hurt him. Lentil soup, pot roast shredded small, scrambled eggs with too much butter. She left a covered bowl on the counter and called through the screen door. Ellis, food's warm. He never came in without knocking. If Naomi was home alone, he waited outside until she answered. If the kids were changing after swimming, he turned his back to the porch like he was guarding a palace. That part never made family gossip. Neither did the bills. I still had the receipt from the weekend I patched his studio roof after a storm peeled back the shingles. Ellis stood below me, 1 hand on the ladder, bad knee wrapped in a beige brace. You fall where automation meets efficiency. I'm too old to catch you, he called. Then why are you holding the ladder? So the paramedics know I tried. Naomi brought lemonade. She handed mine to me first, then his. That was enough for Aunt Maribel. Apparently. Later I learned she had been parked across the street, taking pictures through her windshield like she had uncovered national corruption. By Sunday, my mother had heard Naomi was playing house with 2 men. By Monday, a cousin I barely spoke to texted me I emojis'd. You good bro? I showed Naomi. She looked at the phone, then went back to slicing bananas for the kids' lunches. You want me to say something? I asked. No, she said. They'll only ask for more. Her voice stayed calm, but the night slowed. Thin banana coins lined up on the cutting board. Perfect and quiet. That was Naomi. She made home warm without making herself easy to know. She loved our kids loud, loved me steady. But some parts of her had locked doors, and I had learned marriage was not a search warrant. Ellis was one of those doors. I knew he mattered. I knew she trusted him in a way that had nothing to do with romance and everything to do with survival. Outsiders saw an old man, a younger woman, a separate building, and decided decency was too boring. One afternoon, Jonah came home asking why Grandma said Mr. Ellis should find his own people. Naomi froze with a juice box straw between her fingers. I said, because Grandma talks before thinking sometimes. Through the kitchen window, Ellis sat behind the garage with his coffee cooling beside him, turning 1 peppermint over in his fingers. He had heard. His shoulders sat too still. Naomi touched the window frame, not the glass. Leave him be, she whispered. So I did. That was how our normal worked. Careful, kind, full of boundaries nobody wanted to notice. The first bad call came while I was washing Jonah's water bottle. No thunder. No slam door. Just me at the sink after dinner. One hand jammed inside blue plastic with a sponge. Soap sliding over my wrist. When Caleb's name lit up on my phone, Naomi sat at the kitchen table helping Mara hunt for her missing spelling sheet. Ellis had gone back to studio. Through window. His lamp glowed behind garage. I hit speaker with my knuckle. What's up? Caleb didn't say hello. You need to talk to Leila. I froze with bottle under faucet. About what? This nonsense she picked up from your house. Naomi's pencil stopped. She wants space, he said, like word had gone bad in his mouth. Privacy. Separate friends. Separate routines. Guess where she learned that? Water kept running. Soap slid down my palm. If Leila wants space, I said. Maybe listen to why. He laughed once. Don't play therapist. She saw Naomi getting away with it for years. Now she thinks every wife gets husband plus old backup man in yard. Naomi stood so fast chair like scraped tile. I turned off faucet. Quiet made his breathing sound close. Don't talk about my wife like that. Then tell truth. Caleb snapped. Tell Leila whatever arrangement you two have isn't normal. Tell her she can't use your circus as permission to wreck her family. Anger made my mouth dry. Not hot anger. Cold kind. Careful kind. There is no arrangement. Ellis rents studio. He helps with kids. That's it. Bull. Mom sees it. Aunt Maribel sees it. Naomi cooking for him. Him taking your kids places. Him sitting out there like he belongs. Leila said Naomi has people who respect her boundaries. Boundaries. Like a monster because I ask where my wife goes. Ask. I said. Ortra. Silence. There it was. Tiny. Ugly. First sound under whole story. Then Caleb said. Low. Careful. Mara looked up. She knew when adults made her wrong. I dried my hands. I'm not calling Leila to tell her to stay married to you. She's confused. No. Naomi said. Calm but pale. She sounds tired. Caleb heard her. Of course you do say that. I stepped toward phone. We're done. No. You owe me. You let your house become advertisement for wives doing whatever they want. Fix it. Your marriage is not my plumbing. He laughed again. Keep joking when she takes Sophie from me. That stopped me. Sophie was 5. Pink glasses. Dinosaur backpack. Shy enough to hide behind Leila until Jonah offered crackers. What does Sophie have to do with this? I asked. Just my daughter too. Leila needs to remember that before she starts copying Naomi. Naomi closed her eyes. I should have heard threat. Instead, I heard wounded pride. Because family trains you to rename danger as drama. Caleb, I said. Get help before you say something you can't walk back. He hung up. Sink dripped once. Then again. Naomi pulled spelling sheet from under placemat like her hands needed work. Mara whispered. Is Uncle Caleb mad at us? No. I said too fast. Outside. Ellis's lamp clicked off. Not bedtime. Not yet. Like he was standing in dark too. Listening to normal turned strange. By morning, my phone looked like it had caught fire in my sleep. 38 messages sat in the family group chat under my mother's sunrise photo and glitter heart sticker. We need to pray for unity, she wrote. Aunt Maribel answered. Unity starts at home. Cousin Ray, who once borrowed money from me and vanished for 7 months, added, some men let anything slide nowadays. Nobody said Naomi's name. Nobody said Ellis's. That almost made it worse. Everybody knew who outside influences meant. I stood in the laundry room with the dryer thumping behind me, watching Mara's purple leggings tumble in the round window. Warm detergent smell filled the air. It should have been normal. It should have been Wednesday. Naomi passed carrying Jonah's sneakers by the laces. Don't read it, she said. You don't know what it says. I know the font. Another message came from Mom. Your brother is hurting. Maybe now is not the time to defend strangers over blood. I typed, Ellis is not a stranger. Deleted it. Typed, Caleb threatened to use Sophie to scare Leila. Deleted that too, because my family did not help. They formed committees. Jonah came in wearing one shoe. Dad, why is your face doing that? What? He smashed his eyebrows together. I put my phone face down on the dryer. Work stuff. Naomi looked at me. Not angry. Worse. Disappointed I had taught our son to mistrust his own eyes. After school drop-off, Mom called 3 times. I let it ring. Then came a voice memo, which meant she wanted to be cruel without hearing silence. Baby, I'm not accusing anybody, she began, in her accusing voice, but you have to understand how this looks. A married woman should not keep private attachments with another man. If that old man needs care, there are facilities. If he is family, why all the secrecy? And if Caleb is upset, maybe stop acting superior and help your brother save his home. I sat outside the hardware store watching a man load mulch into a minivan. Normal people buying mulch. Normal people not being asked to evict an old man because gossip needed furniture. Then Leela texted. I'm sorry. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Came back. Caleb saw my phone yesterday. He read my texts. I didn't tell him to call you. I don't believe what he says about Naomi. I'm sorry he dragged you in. My stomach tightened. I typed, are you safe? No answer. Then, I'm at work. Sophie's at school. I'm okay. Please don't call. He checks. Somebody honked behind me. I pulled forward and parked again. Hand stuck to the wheel. He checks. Not drama. Not marriage trouble. Checks. I remember Thanksgiving. Leela asking Naomi how she tracked bills because Caleb handled all that. Naomi had said, I like seeing numbers myself. Makes me sleep better. Caleb had smiled. Some people don't need to worry their pretty heads. Everybody laughed because that was easier. I had laughed too. Maybe not loud enough. When I got home, Ellis was trimming dead blossoms off Naomi's rosebush. Clip. Pause. Clip. His hand shook a little. You hear from your mother? He asked. Everybody has. He nodded like weather had arrived. Naomi was in the kitchen packing leftover soup into square containers, hair pinned up with a pencil. I showed her Lila's messages. She read them once. Then again, color left her cheeks. He checks her phone. I said. Naomi snapped the lid on crooked. Orange soup leaked down the side. I know what that sentence usually means. She said, you know Leela better than I do. No. She wiped the container slowly. I know fear better than you do. There it was. Another locked door. Not opened. Only touched from inside. Before I could ask, my phone buzzed again. Aunt Maribel had sent a photo to the group chat. Ellis in our backyard, shot through fence slats, carrying Mara's pink backpack from his car. Caption: this is what people see. Don't blame them for questions. My vision went white at the edges. Naomi reached for my phone. No. Just taking pictures of our kids. She wants you to explode. She took a picture of our daughter's backpack. I know. Her calm was not calm. It was held together with both hands. I wrote one message. Do not photograph my children, my wife, or my property again. Ellis is part of our household. This discussion is over. Mom replied within 10 seconds. Then act like head of one. Outside. Ellis set the pruning shears on the porch rail and went back to his studio without coffee. Without his usual wave. Naomi watched him go. He thinks he caused this, she said. Did he? Her eyes came to mine. I regretted it before the question finished leaving my mouth. No, she said. But now I know you're wondering too. She lined the soup containers in the fridge like small bricks in a wall. I stood there with my phone hot in my hand, hearing Lila's message repeat. He checks. For first time, family gossip stopped feeling stupid. It started feeling useful to someone. That night, after kids were asleep and house got quiet enough to hear refrigerator click, I did thing every adult says he will never do. I asked strangers online if I was losing my mind. Naomi folded towels upstairs with television low. LSS studios at dark behind garage except for blue square of reading lamp. I sat at kitchen table. Open marriage forum. Maid throwaway name. My wife has older male family friend living in detached studio on our property. I typed. My family thinks it is inappropriate. There is no affair. He helps with school pickup. We help with errands. My brother is using this to accuse his wife of copying us because she wants privacy in her marriage. I stared at screen, then added one line I hated. I can't explain why he is close to my wife without sharing private history that is not mine. That was closest I could get to truth without stealing Naomi's. I asked if I was wrong for refusing to make him move out so my family could feel normal. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then comments came fast enough to make screen jump. Some were saying, "Your family needs boundaries. Your brother sounds controlling. Why is everyone worried about appearances instead of safety?" Others made my stomach turn. No husband is this relaxed unless he knows less than he thinks. Private history means affair or trauma bond. Check deed. Check accounts. Check old names. I should have closed laptop. I should have gone upstairs, held my wife, and remembered I knew her better than anonymous people with cartoon avatars. Instead, I kept reading. Near midnight, one comment stopped me. Does wife get mail under different last name? Older man keep legal papers with her name. Seen this before. Family friend can mean hidden beneficiary setup. My mouth went dry. Not because I believed it. Because that afternoon, before Mom's photo and Caleb's call, I had brought in Malin's seen cream envelope between coupons. It was addressed to Naomi, but not Naomi Webb. Naomi Vale. I almost asked then. Jonas spilled yogurt on his sock. Mara cried over broken dinosaur pencil. Envelope vanished from counter. Now that name sat in my head like nail. I searched it before I could stop myself. Nothing useful. Old property record to counties over. Dead link to foster advocacy PDF. Stranger's wedding registry. I shut laptop to hard. Floor creaked behind me. Naomi stood in doorway wearing my college sweatshirt. Dish towel in hand. What are you doing? Nothing. Her eyes moved to laptop. I hated myself before words came out. Who is Naomi Vale? Room went cold without sound. Her fingers tightened in towel. Where did you hear that? That's not answer. It is answer to different question. I laughed once. Ugly. Do you know how bad that sound? She looked toward back window. Toward Delas's studio. I need you not to dig through that. Dig through what? Your mail? Your old name. Whatever legal thing people online think it too stupid to notice. Her face changed at online. You posted about us? I didn't use names. You used enough. Enough for what? For Caleb to recognize it if he wanted. That scared me more than I let show. I wanted perspective. I said, "No," she said softly. "You wanted permission to doubt me." Chairs scraped when I stood. That's not fair. Neither is asking me to hand you pieces of myself because your mother sent blurry picture. We stood across kitchen with laptop between us. Still warm. Full of strangers carving up our life. Then headlights slid across blinds. Not pulling in. Rolling past. Naomi turned first. I lifted one slat. Dark SUV moved down street with lights off for half second. Then brake lights flashed red at corner. I called and see driver. But Caleb drove dark SUV. Phone buzzed on table. Unknown number. Screenshot attached. My anonymous post. Title circled red. Message below it. Funny how liars always call themselves private. Naomi covered her mouth. Behind garage. LSS blue lamp went out. Caleb didn't knock. He hit our front door with his fist hard enough to wake the baby monitor on the counter. Naomi flinched like the sound had landed on her skin. I opened it before he could hit again. My brother stood under the porch light in yesterday's dress shirt. Collar bent. Jaunite. His SUV sat crooked at the curb. Engine running. Mom was calling my phone from somewhere in his pocket. He ignored it. You made me look insane, he said. You sent me a screenshot from an unknown number. His smile came out wrong. You put our business online. I put my business online. No names. You think people are stupid. Old man in the backyard. Wife with secrets. Brother whose marriage is falling apart. You drew a family map. Behind me. Naomi said. Caleb, lower your voice. Kids are asleep. His eyes cut past me. Of course you're here. In my house, she said. That should have been obvious. Somehow it sounded brave. Ellis appeared in the hallway. Cardigan over pajama shirt. Hair flattened on one side. Caleb's face lit up like he had found the weapon he came for. There he is, Caleb said. House saved. I stepped outside and pulled the door halfway behind me. Talk to me. No. I'm done talking to men who pretend they don't see it. He pointed toward the window. You let your wife build a second marriage in your backyard. Then my wife starts saying she needs privacy. Her own bank account. Not explaining every errand. And I'm supposed to call that coincidence. There it was. Not concern. Not morality. Fear. Leela asked for her own bank account. I said. Don't twist this. Did you track her phone? Yes, my wife. That's not an answer. She lies. About what? He looked toward the street like neighbors might save him. About being unhappy. Naomi opened the door wider. Caleb, did you read her messages to me? His head snapped back. She shouldn't be texting you. She texted because she was scared. She's scared because you keep telling women men are cages. Naomi went still. Not frozen. Sharpened. My mother used to say that when people asked why I never came to school with clean clothes, she said. Caleb blinked. She said neighbors were poisoning me against family. She said privacy was lying. Naomi's voice stayed low, but I heard old floorboards inside it. I know that language. Don't compare me to whatever. Then stop sounding familiar. For 1 second, he looked wounded. Then shame turned into anger. You don't get to judge my marriage while you hide whatever sick arrangement this is. Alice moved forward. Young man. Caleb laughed. No, you don't get to young man me. I will when you shout at my daughter. Silence dropped so fast I heard my own breath stop. Caleb looked from Alice to Naomi to me. You're what? Naomi gripped the doorknob. Alice looked like he had stepped off a curb in front of a truck. I'm sorry. Alice said, not to me. To Naomi. Her face broke for half a second. Not because the secret came out. Because it came out ugly. On our porch, with my brother panting like he had won. Naomi swallowed. Not now. Oh now? Caleb said. Now makes sense. You've all been lying. You are not owed her history. I said. His smile came back meaner. You didn't know either, did you? Defending the castle and you don't even know where the doors are. That hit because it was true enough to bruise. Naomi looked at me, not asking if I believed her, asking if I would punish her for surviving privately. I stepped between her and Caleb. Leave. His face changed. Younger. Almost the kid who used to ask me to keep the hall light on. Just taking Sophie. He said. What? Leela. She packed a bag. She thinks she can walk out and take my daughter because people like you clap for it. No one said you aren't her father. Then why does everyone act like I'm the danger? Naomi said. If you scare Leela tonight, they'll call someone for her. You stay away from my family. Then stopped standing on my porch threatening mine. For a moment, I thought he might shove past me. His fists opened and closed. Alice took one slow step beside Naomi. Not in front of her. Beside her. Caleb shook his head like the whole world had insulted him. You all deserve each other. He backed down the steps. Nearly tripped on Mara's scooter. Kicked it aside. Then got into the SUV. Tires scraped the curb when he pulled away. Naomi locked the door. Deadbolt. Chain. Ellis sat on the bottom stair, hands over his face. I should not have said that. Naomi crouched in front of him. No. I should have. My phone buzzed. Leela HES coming here. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. By time Sophie was back in Lila's arms, nobody in my living room looked like they had won. Leela sat on our couch with her otter pressed to her chest, rocking even though Sophie was 7 and all knees. One sneaker was gone. Her braid had come loose, and she kept rubbing red mark on her wrist where Caleb had held on too hard in school parking lot. Officers stood near door with calm voices and tired eyes. Caleb was arrested that night. Not yet. Everything sounded procedural until one officer handed Leela a card and said, Call advocate before you go anywhere alone. That was when Naomi left room. I found her in kitchen over for mugs of tea nobody had touched. Hoodie strings twisted around her fingers so tight her fingertips had gone pale. Ellis sat at table. He had not looked at anyone since police arrived. His shoulders seemed smaller than that morning. Naomi, I said. She didn't turn. I'm sorry. For post. For asking. For all of it. She laughed once. No humor in it. You're sorry because tonight got ugly. I'm sorry because I made you prove you weren't lying. Ellis closed his eyes. Naomi opened drawer where we kept batteries. Birthday candles. Old keys. From under mess. She pulled folded envelope. Soft at edges like it had been handled too much and hidden too fast. She placed it on table. My mother's blurry photo had shown a name I didn't know. There it was, printed on yellowed paper. Marina Vale. Naomi touched corner with one finger. That was me. I said nothing. My mother named me Marina. I changed it when I was 18. Legally, quietly. Her mouth trembled, but her voice stayed level. Ellis was my neighbor when I was kid, not family. Not at first. Ellis stared at cold tea. I should tell it. No? She said. I can't. He nodded once, like it cost him. Naomi sat across from me, but not close. My mother hurt me. Not one dramatic movie thing. Daily things. Locking food up. Leaving me outside. Telling teachers I lied. She swallowed. Ellis was old man next door who kept noticing. My throat tightened. He called it in more than once. Nothing stuck. Then one winter night. I was 15. I went to his porch because I couldn't feel my hands. She looked at him. He wrapped me in bath towel and called ambulance. He stayed even when my mother screamed he was pervert. Ellis covered his mouth. After that, hearings, foster placement, temporary guardianship, more hearings. My mother fought because she didn't want me, but she wanted to own story. Naomi pushed envelope toward me. Ellis became my legal foster parent first, then my adoptive father before I turned 16. Kitchen clock clicked too loud. I looked at Ellis. Quiet man who made pancakes to thicken kept mints in his glove box for my kids. My wife's father. I whispered. Naomi nodded. Not by blood, by choice, by paperwork, by showing up when nobody wanted inconvenience. My face burned. Every cousin joke. Every sideways comment from mom. Every second I had let doubt sit at our table came back like Bill. The clinic. I said. Photo. Ellis reached into cardigan pocket with shaking hands. He unfolded paper into 4 tired squares and laid it down. Lab results. Follow-up oncology referral. Words I understood enough to fear. Naomi said. His cancer might be back. That day outside clinic. He was trying not to cry in front of me. I hugged my father. I could not look away. We didn't tell your family, she said, because they don't handle pain. They pass it around, make it entertainment. They'd ask what my mother did, how bad, why I never said anything, whether I exaggerated. Her voice cracked. I have spent half my life not being cross-examined at dinner. I reached for her hand, then stopped. She saw. After second, she let her fingers rest on mine. I should have trusted you, I said. Yes, she said. No softness, no punishment. Truth. Plain as cold tea between us. From living room, Sophie whispered in her sleep. Leela answered with broken little hush. Ellis finally looked up. Eyes wet. Caleb didn't invent suspicion. He said. He used what was already lying around. That landed harder than yelling. Naomi folded test results with careful hands. There was never another man, she said. Only man who saved me. And husband who forgot privacy can be loved too. I sat with apology in my mouth, knowing it was true and too late to be enough. Caleb got temporary order 2 days later. No courtroom shouting. Just fluorescent lights. Clipped forms. And Lila's hands shaking while advocate helped her spell sister's address. Sophie sat under table with coloring book. Drawing house with too many locks and sun big enough to cover whole page. When Leela walked out, she looked embarrassed instead of relieved. I hate that everyone knows. she said. Naomi answered before I could. They know what they need to know. Not everything. Leela nodded like that sentence had weight she could carry. My family split exactly how I expected. Half said Caleb made mistake. Other half said Leela had been waiting for excuse. My mother called me crying. Then spent 10 minutes explaining she had only been worried about appearances. I listened from porch while Ellis' plastic chairs sat empty beside me. Mom, I said, you weren't worried about appearances. You fed them. Silence. That's not fair. No? What happened to Leela and Sophie wasn't fair. What happened to Naomi wasn't fair. You being uncomfortable is not emergency. She cried harder. Old me would have softened and taken it back. I didn't. Naomi stood inside screen door. Not hiding. Not rescuing me either. After I hung up, I asked, was that too much? She looked at me for a long moment. No. It was late. Fair. Ellis began treatment next week. Naomi taped appointment schedule to fridge beside spelling test calendar and soccer snack list. Chemo consult. Blood work. Pickup for Mara. Dentist for Jonah. Life did not pause for pain. It stacked itself. I bought Ellis new lock for studio door because old one stuck in rain. He watched me kneel with screwdriver and said, you don't have to perform guilt in hardware. I know. Do you? I stopped turning screw. I thought about asking Naomi if you had ever been more than family. I said, for maybe 5 seconds. But I thought it. Ellis didn't flinch. That made it worse. People put trash in your ear, he said. You can spit it out or swallow it. 5 seconds is not crime. What you did after matters. I still hurt her. Yes. He turned new lock once. Twice. Then gave keys back. Then be useful now. So I tried. I deleted post. Wrote update with no names. No details. No satisfying secret for strangers to chew on. I said I had mistaken privacy for deception. I said internet advice was not substitute for trust. I thanked people who told me to protect women asking for help instead of defending my pride. Comments still came. They wanted twist. Villain. Proof. I turned notifications off. That evening Sophie sent drawing through Leela. Our porch. 4 chairs. One small girl holding purple flower. On back. In careful pencil, thank you for letting mommy sleep. Naomi read it twice. Then pressed page to chest and cried in kitchen where kids could not see. I did not touch her right away. I asked, can I hold you? She nodded. New rule in house after everything. Ask. Wait. Mean yes. Next morning Ellis came out wrapped in gray cardigan. Thinner already though treatment had barely started. Mar dragged his chair into sun with serious little grunt. Jonah brought coffee. Mostly spilling it. Proud anyway. Ellis took up like metal. Naomi stood beside me in doorway. Our shoulders touched. Not forgiveness finished. Not wound closed. Something quieter. To people deciding not to let family rumor become architecture. Across yard. Ellis lifted coffee toward us. I lifted mine back. For first time in weeks. Nobody explained him. Nobody defended him. He was just old man on porch. Loved by people who knew enough. And protected from people who didn't. At first, I thought healing would feel cleaner. It didn't. It looked like a new lock on Ellis' studio door. Not because we feared him, but because he deserved one or nobody turned into a joke. It looked like Naomi taping his treatment calendar beside Mara's spelling list, both held up by a strawberry magnet. It looked like me deleting drafts where I explained too much to people who had earned nothing. I posted one update. Child is safe. Mother has support. Older man is family. Details are not owed. Thank you to everyone who looked past rumor and saw control. Then I logged out. Caleb got temporary restrictions. Leela and Sophie stayed with her sister. Our family split into camps, like truth was something you could vote on. My mother called that night with her soft, almost apology voice. I suppose we all misunderstood. No, I said. You fed it. I'm still your mother. And Naomi is my wife. Ellis is my family. Lily and Sophie are not gossip. If you can't remember that, don't come over. My hand shook after I hung up. Naomi didn't rescue me from it. She only slid her thumb across my knuckles once. Caleb kept texting from unknown numbers until attorney handled it. Rage. Bible verses. One message said I ruined his home. I stared at that one longest, then blocked it too. Some men call it ruin when locks finally turn from inside. A week later, Sophie emailed a drawing. Purple flowers, yellow sun, 5 stick people on porch. Mara taped it to fridge and dadded glitter. Jonah asked if Grandpa Ellis was flu sick or hospital sick. Ellis answered from kitchen table. Voice thin but steady. Bit of both. Buddy, will coffee help? Coffee always helps. So next morning, before school, we went to Porch. Wet grass, burnt toast, cold air. Ellis sat in gray cardigan, blanket over knees, mug in both hands. Naomi brought pills in little blue cup. I brought coffee. Mara dragged out extra chair for Sophie. Though Sophie was there, saving it, she said. Ellis looked at empty chair, then at me. For once, I didn't explain our family to invisible cord. I sat beside my wife. Her shoulders touched. Not fixed, not perfect. True. Across yard, sun caught studio window, and every locked door belonged to person it protected.